Good evening and welcome to the Tibet Center. Here at 151 West 30th Street, 3rd floor. We will begin by reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West, which you will find in the FAQ section, which you'll find below if you scroll down. Okay. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddha's teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharmas, called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas of their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form, emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the Bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, are fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed. Tadyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisattva. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. And the Blessed One arose from that Samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. Profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering with the world of the gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay. So we will do one rosary of Om Mani Padme Hum, and while doing it, you develop the wish to remove the suffering of all others. This is the mantra of compassion, and compassion is that wish to remove the suffering of others. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. So, we are discussing Beyond Religion, Ethics for a Whole World by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And I believe that we have reached page 117. Does anyone else have? Yes, does that sound right?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, good. So, So last week we were discussing destructive emotions, and I was reading the definitions of the different root afflictions. So here now we'll go into what His Holiness says here. So I'll start on the page before. Given these different ways of categorizing emotional experience, it is important for readers not to confuse those emotions which are afflictive, that is to say, harmful to our long-term well-being, with those which simply don't feel good. We're talking about the categorization. Well, in our modern psychological view, those things that bring us pleasure are seen to be good. Those things that cause us to be unhappy are considered negative. And what His Holiness is presenting to us is the idea that no. Those things that are of benefit to others are virtuous and therefore good. And those things that harm others or are selfish are in the negative category. And so from a karmic point of view, when we engage in actions that harm others, when we engage in actions that are purely selfish and therefore intensify our self-grasping, the result of such actions is our own suffering. And so they are afflictive. They are seen, such actions are seen to be afflictive. Are we all right technologically? Yeah. Are seen to be afflictive from the point of view of us and the pleasure or suffering that we will experience as a result of such actions. And here we're talking about the kind of suffering or pleasure that will be derived not necessarily in this lifetime, not necessarily right away. This is, from a karmic point of view, it's not that we know when we will experience the result of our non-virtuous actions. How do you all feel about the whole idea of karma and actions that then cause us to suffer? How does that sit with you? Sits well?
It's quite apparent when you understand how karma works, and we can relate to our every action, good actions, even our suffering, that it's coming from our past actions.
But it does demand an acceptance of a past that we can't really prove directly. That's okay, a little bit of faith in...
It took a bit, but now it's quite clear again and again once you have this understanding and belief in the system of karma and the facts of karma.
Well, this book is meant to have been written not necessarily for Buddhists or people who believe in karma. I'm permitting myself to bring to it a Buddhist interpretation. And I think that if we are going to accept a Buddhist interpretation, that really entails our assuming responsibility for the situation for our situation, and therefore accepting the idea that what causes the present situation we're experiencing are actions that took place before this life. There's no way that the system of karma would work unless one could depend on a lot of prior causes that would not be limited to this lifetime. Yes?
Many years ago, I was with an assistant who was going, and I said, but it's unfair. He almost fell apart laughing. You know.
What is unfair?
Well, then I had an accident this summer, and I feel the result was unfair, but I know it's the result of karma. Past karma has resulted in this quote-unquote unfair situation. And I accepted it superficially, but it kept coming up. I wake up in the morning and it's, oh, it's not fair, yeah, would return in my mind, you know, and I'll say, shh, no, that's karma, that one. Oh, well, it's unfair. So that's so deeply rooted. You know, the idea that it's not my fault, it's the it's that.
If we don't accept karma, does it mean that we're accepting that things can happen randomly or causelessly?
If we don't accept karma, are we therefore suggesting that things happen randomly?
Automatically, necessarily.
Automatically?
Yes.
I'm asking you.
My intuition is yes, but then sometimes I've had discussions with people who don't necessarily accept karma, and they also seem to think that things do happen by a cause. So, but to me, I couldn't quite pinpoint why that might not work. But to me, it seems like if you don't accept causes from a previous life, then at some point something's going to happen which there's no identifiable cause of, or it's happening randomly or without a cause.
Well, I mean, if you know, most of the world believes that what happened, the Christian and maybe Judeo-Christian or Abrahamic idea is that maybe we should close this door. Thank you. Is that we are the creation of some kind of creator, and our situation is the creation of some kind of creator, but we have free will. Within that creation, we have free will. And there are natural laws, I mean, you know, gravity on planet Earth, and all sorts of things like that. But the situation within which this takes place is brought about by a creator being, a creator force. So that's not random. That's and that, you know, the loving quality of a creator being there is a certain justice within that we can't understand, but is there. I think that's my understanding of it. So that I don't know that one could simply label that as random.
Right. But let's say we're talking about modern agnostic atheist people.
You, please. Do we have anyone with good knowledge of
Can I give that
atheist?
example?
Sorry?
Can I give the two examples? One of my friend, right? One time get a car accident, get a bus, right? All people get a serious sad. One person, my friend, gets serious sad. And then I said, you must save people's life, someone like my life. He said, no, I never. Then he thinking and thinking, yes, He totally forgot one time he saved the people's life. But it's really, he thinking it, he said, yes, long time ago, he saved the people's life. On the swing on the ocean, right, beach, saved them. So in the car, is also my friend, the first time I met him, we are traveling, right? So I never know it, but he said, how do you know it? I said, he said, you tell me. I said, I never tell him, even he forgot. I said, you tell me. He said, whole car, right, big bus. All people get serious sad. All right, accident, the car accident turned cover, right? Just, he didn't. So from the case, all right, tells me, I said, you must be saved someone. That this lifetime, right? Then he said, yeah. So it's a really tell the cause and effect, right? With a basket accident, or people get serious, just hit that thing. But at least it happened in this lifetime. The person not believe in the Buddhism or whatever, I don't know he have the religion, I not really have such a religion, right? But it happened too. No matter you believe or not, what you're making, what you get, what you do, what you get.
Oh, we believers in karma would say, whether you believe in karma or not, it works.
So, meaning, even though people, they don't believe the karma or whatever, but it happened. They don't believe the religion or they don't need to be Buddhist, but it is true. What you do, what you get.
So what would an atheist, does anyone know about the atheist point of view of these things? A good card-carrying Christopher Hitchens is no longer with us. Who's the Darwinist? Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins.
Yeah. What is his view of?
Daniel Dennett, maybe? I don't know.
What is Dawkins's view on how things, on justice and on the laws of? We should have some.
I think they think it's just happenstance, that everything is completely random.
Well, not completely random.
Yeah.
I mean, there are the laws of physics. You as a doctor, I mean,
Sure. Yeah. There's genetics, and there's anything that revolves around under the umbrella of science, and then there's just complete random happenstance. I think that's based on whatever atheists or agnostics or that have spoken to across my life, that's the impression I get, that that's the perspective.
So this book should satisfy such a view, the view that any sort of believer in God would have, and the view that you find among Buddhists, Hindus who believe in karma and past lives. I do find, and this is why I permit myself to bring it up, I do find it helpful. I find that the karmic, the view of karma gives us agency, is that the word? It gives us a certain responsibility. It provides us with agency in a situation, and I find that quite inspiring. It's not that we can change our past. It's not that we can bring any changes in, the karma that lead to now. However, now we have the ability to bring about change in the way we behave. And it is really in that light that I think it's interesting to view these afflictive emotions. Now, afflictive emotions that we discussed last week, the desire, anger, pride, ignorance, doubt, an afflicted view. Those are the root afflictions. And if we see them as so the way they're viewed in Buddhist psychology, let's say, they are seen to be the root of all our problems. All of the difficulties that we experience are due to these afflictive emotions, these afflictive mental actions, something like desire, or something like anger, or something like pride. They're in ourselves, and yet they are what cause us to engage in physical and verbal actions that cause problems to others, that then cause us more problems according to the laws of karma. And so every difficulty that we experience comes from these actions. So I'm going to stop there and would like to listen to your thoughts on these things.
In my case, I think that I probably am more on the doubting and the, let's say, agnostic, and I have more of those tendencies. But I wonder about things. For instance, to say that karma determines what happens. I mean, what is determinism? In other words, why do I do this? Is it because of genetics? Some people believe that. That you are, there's, in the 19th century, that people believed that the criminal tendencies were inherited. And that it is such a part of hygiene that, people who were criminal or degenerate should be eliminated. And that was one, or then there's another kind of what determines. It's like the whole predestination. And some people believe, well, the fact that I'm so successful that's a sign that I was meant to be, successful. And so I have to wonder, I wonder about these causalities and how you can just simply say, but things aren't totally, I don't believe they're totally random.
But do you think they're predestined? What about predestination?
I don't believe in predestination.
All right.
And so, but that perhaps might overlap with this idea of karma. I mean, in some, that this is something that happened to a soul prior to yours, but you've inherited this, whatever it is, that destiny. And but that's a very interesting, but to me, what I was finding so interesting about these, identifying these basic afflictions, is because there's very little we don't have to invent an entire cosmology that explains all the events in the universe. I mean, which science might supposedly try to do, but even that, it doesn't really account for human behavior, right? Completely.
What doesn't? Science. You said science doesn't?
Science.
What doesn't account for human behavior? What was the word you used? I just didn't hear.
Science. I don't think science. Science does not always completely explain human behavior, why we do certain things, because it's supposedly this cause and effect, and some physical cause and effect, or but people are often quite contrary, it seems to me, and often their thoughts and their statements and their actions are full of contradictions. And why do these things come about? And there's something that can't really be explained by totally cause and effect in our way of looking at things.
So, genetics you brought up, and the genetics that go into, I just want to bring genetics and karma, some kind of harmony between those two. The genetics that cause one's physical situation, I don't think that the laws of karma would in any way counter that view or that argument. Your being born within that particular genetic situation is something that we would say, deserve karmically. That is the result of your past actions. And once you are within that genetic situation, you are experiencing the results of those particular physical components or causes. Now, what is extraordinary and unique here is that we recognize it, or that we are discussing it. Now I'm talking from the karmic point of view. The fact that we actually say to ourselves, I can bring about some kind of change. I can tweak the situation I find myself in, which will bring some kind of change to not only myself, but the world around me. Tiny, but a change. It will bring that little shift. And in a sense, what we're talking about is recognizing the potential for bringing about that little change, and the way in which it affects us and might have some kind of effect on the world around us. Now, one could say that is valid whether we believe in past lives or not. The potential for change, the potential for tweaking our circumstance by engaging in ethically virtuous behavior is valid whether we are believers in a creator being, whether we are believers in what would you say, nothing, natural, or whether we believe in past lives. From any point of view, we do recognize that we can bring about a slightly happier environment by smiling and being nice. It works on that level. But I'm suggesting that it might have greater ramifications, and our situation, we might actually be more responsible for than is normally recognized or accepted.
If we decide to do something different, wouldn't that also be as a result of a cause?
When you say different from, or different...
So if we're in a habit of not smiling, and then we make a choice, today I think I'm going to smile. So that thought had a cause. And maybe that cause was something that's not in our control. I heard you say that today, which was not in my control. And then that planted something in my mind. And then I'm going on the Long Island Railroad later. And that caused me to do something different.
And so you're going to smile due to what I said?
Yes.
Does that mean he's a good student?
What I'm saying, though, is that then, is there any real free will?
Yeah, because your
You didn't have
your
to.
free will, yeah, like you made the conscious decision though to come here to then hear that.
And to
So,
accept.
and
it.
then
But maybe that conscious decision was caused by something else,
Yes.
someone told me.
Yes. And the fact you noticed what he said, because he
Yeah.
said a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you noticed that one and remember.
But it's free. It's free. I'm not charging him for it. So it's free will.
But this is still karma, right?
Yeah, that's part of your makeup.
Free.
Just seems to me if we're saying everything is caused, then it might be hard to say there's true free will.
So that's something you should think about.
Yes.
And however, my response, I'm not going to say whether we have free will or not. I do think that if we are going to engage in trying to become more responsible ethically, we should consider that we should cultivate a sense of responsibility towards doing the ethically correct thing. Whether we have free will or not, we should work towards that. That's.
I mean, it certainly feels to me like I have a choice.
But try to think that you don't have a choice. You must do the right thing. I'm pushing you.
In the sense of choice or in the sense of results? There's a reason to do the right thing.
In the sense of doing the right thing.
For others and self, there's a reason.
For both, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pushing you. When you have choices, say, I should.
You choose to be like, yes, of course, you do have two choices or more.
Yeah.
But one is going to bad, one is going to good, right? So if you do good, you have a good result. If you choose to do bad thing, then you have a bad result.
But he's asking, do we really have a choice? Won't we naturally go towards, if we believe in karma, is there a choice?
Yeah, because there's cause, but there's also lots of conditions, and there's more than one cause, so it's not just A, B, you know? Or B is, so you can work with that.
Yeah, but won't the mental attitude that makes that decision already be the result of a lot of...
Yes, yes, but you can then look at it and say, not so good. You don't
Yeah,
have
but
to
you
accept
might
it.
say,
And then forget about it for a week, and then, and then again, it takes a while, it's hard.
So I'm saying that when we are in that situation, we should push ourselves to engage in the virtuous.
Because it's hard.
Yeah, I think we have no choice because
We have no choice, or we,
no, because we make our goal. I'm here because I want to become Buddha in the future, right? So my only choice is like to follow Buddha's teaching.
yeah, but do you have a choice to have
You already chose.
Yeah.
two?
You don't have. You
Another-
don't need a choice. You already took a decision.
Yeah.
So don't call it choice.
I make my decision because you know if you have a choice, you think, what am I here for? Right? What am I here for?
You've
Yeah.
already decided. I'm here to become Buddha.
Yeah.
We've all made an effort to be here. Why?
Yeah, because we
We
want
are
to
here to be
learn the Buddha's
better
teaching to
Yeah.
become
beings.
That's
and
right.
by our
I think
teachings, by
the one part
Buddha's
is that,
example.
So this is
depending your growth environment. No, we don't have choice. It's like person like me, because I was
One at a
born
time.
in some environment from child up. The generation always tell us cause and effect. So it's my life, early life.
Mhm.
So it's like the people, they will say, nicely well, I'm so pure. But the other one say, the Cantonese says, 我乖. You explain what the meaning of 我乖. They will say, I'm the so dumb, very dumb
Do tell us
person,
what
like
what
they laughing
koi
at. They will say, you're 我乖. People take easy
What's
advantage
what
of
koi?
me.
What's
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
So you're
Because I
saying,
was grown up in my environment, always tell me cause and effect, be nice to the people. So therefore, even though I come to the American, all right, some people always take advantage on me. But I don't know, I just try to do it what I could, right? Even though recent days, the landlord to fix it, my ceiling had been hole for years, right? Downstairs complain, then come to fix it. So now I do complain, the water still leaking, so they take advantage of me. So I too, why I still can sleeping, I think cause and effect. Right? What happened to me for so many years, right? So I still sleeping good, even though midnight I will not wake up, all right? Just sit down, because it's naturally in my life, because I was grown up in such an environment, I don't need to think of it. I'm not thinking it, just naturally people's nice to you. You to the strange person, always nice to the people.
yes, but in your town
Yeah.
where you were born, one or two.
People from child up, because even the class, like Mr. Cole sometimes say, oh, he's early age to, I not feel sorry. I was inside, I was like, what nice to until today, you not feel sorry. But the general person is that it's normal. The child always doing that. To me, no, should not be like that. Because in my hometown, general people were not doing it. People's grow in people's home, you will see you cannot be take that to the other side. To go outside, you still cannot take. Right? Then the people from when I was a child, if I like something, I'm looking at, then people do it like it, I smile, they give to me. Right? If I don't like it, just
So,
just like that in my life.
the attitude that you're describing is not one that everyone shares, but it is one that we can work at cultivating. We can work towards seeing that there's a logic to it, that if even on a simple worldly level, when we are nice to people, people are nice to us. When we smile, people appreciate. When we cheat people, we feel uncomfortable about it. They are cheated. They're uncomfortable about it. And even if we can't go into the future life ramifications of cheating someone or stealing from them, within this life, it causes us.
Yes. When you said that, recently I told my friend, as the other class, the Buddhist class, I said, I always see people cheating me, right? Then one of my friends tell me, asking me, why are people always cheating you, not cheat to the other person? It's right, why people cheat me?
And what's your answer? Why do people cheat you and not the
Yeah,
other
I
people?
said, I'm not, my face is not like some people. People ask me, they say, I lost the pocket, I lost what I always give people, right? But recently people say something, I say, But generally, I always give, because as that when I was growing up, we always give. Maybe that time, 60s, 70s, there's like the 70s when I know, the people's no money, right? They will put all pocket, right? Maybe go back to home, then pick up the money, cash, right? Give to the stranger person. Because we don't have the cash, we still can survive, right? Because we have the farm to take care of the rest, right? But we just treat to the people like that. And a strange person, they don't have space. My home always open the door for people. Not meaning no cheating. Very, 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 very few people. Very, very, very few. So to me, it's like sometimes it's miss me. I don't.
So I'm going to skip over to the whole idea that these afflictions of ours are our greatest enemy. And in, here now I'm getting Buddhist, sorry. Shantideva was an Indian saint, let's say, who wrote a text called A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And in it, he describes the afflictions as being our greatest enemies. The afflictions as being what cause us all our unhappiness and prevent us from evolving in a virtuous spiritual way. So within this text, so most of you I'm sure know the story of within his monastery, Shantideva was not really recognized as being a very evolved person, and the members of the monastery were a little bit embarrassed by him because he was known as the monk who engaged in the three actions: eating, sleeping, and defecating. And so they decided to embarrass him to have him leave the monastery, and so they instituted a policy where each monk in the monastery would have to give a discourse on Buddhism. And so when it was his turn, he gave this magnificent discourse, which is known as the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And in it, he first of all establishes the importance of seeking full enlightenment in order to best benefit others, and he establishes the vow that one has to take in order to commit oneself to the pursuit of enlightenment in order to benefit others. And then he describes the things that we then have to engage in. And the main challenge that we are faced with in our pursuit of the enlightenment necessary to be of benefit to others is ridding ourselves of our afflictions, of our afflictive emotions. And so it is at that point that I'm taking up. It's in the fourth chapter of the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Although enemies such as hatred and craving have neither any arms nor legs, and are neither courageous nor wise, how have I, like a slave, been used by them? So that little paragraph, that little verse, really identifies the nature of afflictive emotions and identifies the way in which we tend to treat them. When we talk about hatred or craving or attachment, these are afflictions, these are attitudes that we feel are natural. We feel that the whatever instigates them, whatever provokes them, is a valid reason for our engaging in them, and we consider them to be natural. We consider them to be valid, and we then engage in them. And the thing about, again, now I'm talking about this from the Buddhist perspective, or the perspective of a belief in karma, a belief in cause and effect. Our indulging anger. Our indulging attachment leads to a whole series of actions, of situations, of attitudes, of we're pulled towards acting in a certain way. Every time we engage in an action, if let's say attachment or desire for something or someone, indulging in such thoughts lead us to every step of such thoughts leads us to less satisfaction. The thought itself leads us to less satisfaction. The thought itself goes from life to life, causing us less satisfaction. I'm being, I'm trying to be, what is it, sort of limit the degree to which I sort of go down this path. But anger, the thought of anger, engaging in anger, the situation that we then, the emotional turmoil that comes as a result of our having indulged in anger, the turmoil that we experience, that the person we're angry towards experiences. This simply diminishes the threshold at which I get angry, so that it's easier for me to get angry in the future. It therefore causes the people around me to be less patient with me, kind to me. It disrupts my relationship with the people around me. And such tendencies go on into the future, causing me to be reborn in a situation, let's say a warlike situation, a situation where people are angry at each other, where no one trusts each other. All of that is the result of anger in this life, of indulging in, engaging in. And in order to work on ourselves, we have to recognize the potency of anger, the potency of attachment, the potency of pride, the fact that these are not little localized afflictive indulgences, that they have enormous future potential. So it's in that light that I'm going to repeat this. Although enemies such as hatred and craving have neither any arms nor legs, and are neither courageous nor wise, how have I, like a slave, been used by them? For while they dwell within my mind, at their pleasure they cause me harm. Yet I patiently endure them without any anger. But this is an inappropriate and shameful time for patience. So we all know how we have been patient towards. We've indulged, we've permitted ourselves to engage in afflictive emotions. Now, why is thought about these verses important? Because the only thing that actually helps us flex the muscle of restraint when we are tempted to get angry or to indulge in attachment or to feel pride is having considered these things, is having come to recognize the negative qualities of these afflictive emotions and come to recognize the virtue in countering them. And if we engage in such thought, that's called meditation. If we engage in the kinds of analytical meditation that bring us to a point of really considering, recognizing the negative qualities of these afflictive emotions, that's what then gives us the strength, the ability to refrain from engaging in them. So, I'll go on with these. Should even all the gods and demigods rise up against me as my enemies, they could not lead nor place me in the roaring fires of deepest hell. Yet the mighty foe, these disturbing conceptions, in a moment can cast me amidst those flames, which, when met, will cause not even the ashes of the king of mountains to remain. So, in other words, very hot hells are caused by my indulging in negative actions, negative emotions. All other enemies are incapable of remaining for such a length of time as can my disturbing conceptions. The enduring enemy has neither beginning nor end. If I agreeably honor and entrust myself to others, they will bring me benefit and happiness. But if I entrust myself to these disturbing conceptions, in the future they will bring only misery and harm. So, there's a little thought for you to consider. Now, these are not, oh gosh, we have lots of, regarding karma and our physical bodies, am I correct to think that it isn't necessarily helpful to deem it bad or good karmically, but accept what it is and do the best that you have with it? Meaning that no matter what body or situation we are born into, we always have an opportunity to do good. And we might be able to do more good in situations that could be deemed bad. So I'm not sure that we could do more good in situations that could be deemed bad. And here, what we've been discussing tonight is not necessarily doing good in the sense of, it's a question of developing the ability to refrain from engaging in non-virtuous actions. That's working to diminish our afflictive emotions. Yes, the flip side of that is engaging in virtuous actions, but here we're really talking about viewing the spiritual path as working towards diminishing those it is out of a, let's say, a warped idea of what will bring us happiness that we engage in attachment. For example, it is out of a warped idea that we might engage in pride or arrogance or whatever. And so here it's the good that we're doing is working at taming our tendency towards acting in a way that this view of self provokes. And to do so, we have to really work on ourselves. We have to work on recognizing the negative aspect of those selfish, self-motivated actions, attitudes. however, I'm going to read this again, meaning that no matter what body or situation we are born into, we always have an opportunity to do good, and we might be able to do more good in situations that could be deemed bad. Well, one practice might be to view the situation we find ourselves in, if it's a difficult situation, I won't say bad, but a difficult situation, as being an opportunity to work on ourselves. If we view the bad situation as being the result of our own negative actions, and we work on ourselves to bring about a future good situation, that would be the way to make use of our situation.
Is this different than saying if we sin, we're going to hell?
Not very.
Not very. But a little.
Okay.
And if so, how is it different?
Well, the context of the Judeo-Christian idea of good and bad, and where you go as a result of good and bad, might be a little different. The whole idea of our having some kind of responsibility for the situation we're in, and therefore for how we behave in order to bring about a better future. It just gives us more responsibility. But if you want to view it in those terms, you...
But where is volition in all this?
But I might say, though, that within this context, there might not, what is good and what is bad might not be so black and white.
Well, you brought the words good and bad into this.
Well, I mean, it seems to me as described, there's an assumption that we will know exactly what is good and we will know exactly what is bad, and we must do that which is good.
That sounds Judeo-Christian.
Right. Whereas to me, there's more gray in those things, and that part of the practice is investigating that.
And you will be reborn in a sort of gray area.
Neither here nor there.
But also have humility towards others' actions that we might have otherwise just completely judged.
Yes.
Can you say that again?
When we have that attitude, we will have a little bit more room for other people's actions that maybe in an unconsidered way we judge as being bad.
What about, on that note, a repeated action from people that continues to accumulate as bad, let's say, that negative towards us? How do we hang in there to understand the difference when it just feels like an attack? For instance,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, we're supposed to say gray and try to understand, well, this is because of our past karma, that this is happening, but yet it's this at one point, when is there a threshold to know the difference in how to change that dynamic? Does that make sense? Without being...
Yeah. I'm not saying that everything is equally gray. It's like, I just think we need to have a little bit of openness to situations. And that can actually be helpful.
How can we change a dynamic though that's constant?
Yeah, if there's someone
The
where it's,
negative coming towards us.
So we're not talking about changing those dynamics except changing our behavior within the dynamic, changing our tendency to act in selfish ways rather than considering others. And it is that change that we are working on. And we do so by recognizing the negative ramifications of engaging in the self-cherishing mode and the positive results of working towards countering those natural tendencies.
Okay, what if years go by of this and you're still on this receiving end of this?
Oh, it's going to be lifetimes.
But with a certain group of people.
Lifetimes. Brace yourself. It's a long...
Now after that, you meaning tall or the 8 verses of the training the mind. Right? No matter what happened to you, you try to be you from what the people can hurt you,
So
you
we're,
get better
we're-
from it.
and we're going to read...
It's not so simple.
Okay, we're going to read the 8 verses of training. But first, we're going to read the Sutra on the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. And we've been asked to pray for Fanny Chaffee, Dennis Arndt, Richard Chamberlain, Joey, I don't know if it's Holland or Molland, the people in Myanmar and Thailand. So, the Sutra for the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyam Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing and he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of Nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in Nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the ruby where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely and it directs one's further, seeing and fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavat is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy. It puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely. They enter insightfully. They enter straightforwardly. They enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. Great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberated from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha of the community. I prostrate respectfully always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivable, therefore the foolish are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Let's read the 8 verses on training the mind and think of all that we discussed tonight. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme.